three-time interceptions leader, one of the best, Ed Reed, back here on the show. How you been, Ed?
I've been good, Rich. How's it going, my brother?
Where do we find you this time now? Where are you now?
Yeah, I'm in Georgia.
Okay. What are you doing in Georgia? Just living?
Yeah, I would say that, but nah, man. I'm as you find me, I'm doing a toy drive here in Georgia with a few cigar bars I done teamed up with. Doing some community work down here in Georgia, and just trying to work with some underprivileged kids and support some people during Christmas time who are less fortunate.
Yeah, and I know you've got the Ed Reed Foundation, and there's a lot going on there. I definitely want to hit you on that. But while I've got you driving around, what type of cigar do you like, Ed? Do you smoke cigars yourself?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I've been trying a whole bunch of different ones right now. The Cameroon, the Cameron, the Maduro. So
okay.
I'm researching right now, Rich, because I'm trying to make my own cigar. I've been smoking some Oliva, some Padrones.
Okay.
So it's been good, man. It's a good process.
Does your phone do that every time you say the word Padron? Is that trained to do that?
No, that's my cell phone. I'm on my house phone.
Oh, okay, very good. Ed Reed here on the show. What do you think of the Ravens' chances of winning this year, Ed? Getting to the playoffs and making a run here. What do you think?
I think they made it tough. Obviously, the last game was a big one, I thought. No, you don't double AB at the beginning of the game, but any part of the game. But it was a great game. I think those guys are playing pretty decent football right now. I don't know about Weddle talking about he's from the U, but anyway.
What do you mean?
But those guys, they were looking decent, man. I got to see how the end of this shakes out because they have a very favorable next couple games. But you never know how that goes, man. You gotta finish it. You gotta finish them games strong. Just like the last one. I thought, if you finish it the right way, you come out on top of that one in Pittsburgh.
I guess Weddle was pointing out that Utah has had a U at the front of it way before there was the University of Miami. I think that's what he was pointing out.
Yeah, he said the original U.
Mm-hmm. You had a problem with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, after that toasting,
how do you think Antonio Brown keeps doing it, Ed? Everybody knows he's getting the ball, and Ben keeps being able to deliver.
They don't double him. I've been watching it week after week. Why wouldn't the safety lean that way? He's the number one. He's the best receiver in the NFL right now. He's getting 10-plus catches. He had 9 at that point. Why wouldn't you lean towards him? If you lean towards AB, any safety in the NFL will get an interception a week. He's going to get the ball.
Is that what you would do?
Rich, if you go back to the AFC Championship in Pittsburgh, they threw that same pass. They've been throwing that pass for years on that same sideline to AB, and nobody's stopping it. It's crazy. When we played him up there, it's the same pass he crushed us on when he first got into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not doubling him?
I don't know. These are great questions. I'm imagining the Patriots will do that this week. Who do you think's got the edge in that game?
Man, right now it's looking like Pittsburgh, but it might be pretty even because it's. I mean, you don't see New England having 2 really bad games back to back, and that defense of Pittsburgh is a little shaky right now with Ryan, who we're praying for, is not in the middle of that defense right now. So those guys are going to have to step up, and I'm sure after playing last week, they will because Pittsburgh usually make pretty decent adjustments going forward as well.
Well, over the years, Ed Reed, that Tom Brady has been Tom Brady, and that's been pretty much every minute of his entire professional playing existence. The Ravens seem to have had the most success defensively, certainly going into Gillette. What were you able to do against Brady that is so difficult for others to replicate, Ed?
We had Ed Reed, and I hate to speak in third person.
Okay.
But we had somebody he was looking for on every snap, so that caused a little confusion for the Patriots when you had to worry about a certain person out there. But no, man, we had pass rushers. We had every level of defense, and everybody was on one accord, and that's what you have to be playing against somebody like Brady, just meticulous, with that ball man on the people he's getting it to, the speed of the offense, of how it moves, how it flows. It don't seem to be doing the things that they done when I was in the league. The hurry up offense don't seem to be as fast as it used to be.
Ed Reed joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, what'd you think of the suspensions? The one game for Gronk and then the one game for Juju Smith-Schuster, but the one game for George Iloka lifted from 2 weeks ago, Ed?
I think Gronk should have been worse. You could tell that he was trying to do that. There's no doubt about it that he was trying to do that. He had more than enough time to think about dropping the WWE elbow down on the guy. And, Juju standing over the guy, you got to get it, too, for that. This game has come pretty far, and you already know how Pittsburgh and Cincinnati rivalry has been. I'm sure that guy was in college watching that rivalry as Hines Ward, really started that with breaking that guy's jaw from Cincinnati. That rivalry, that game has been crazy since then between Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Maybe need somebody to go counsel both teams when it comes that week, because it's really out of hand on how those two act against each other. That's not a rivalry. That's more like a brawl. So I think something needs to be talked about with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, and also just those malicious hits that Gronk, himself has done. It's a brotherhood, man, and those guys need to understand that. You can play super hard, you can still hit people hard, but at the end of the day, you should take care of each other. Kind of like playing basketball before All-Star break.
It's interesting, Ed, because that was part of the conversation nationally after that Monday Night Football game, is that the league has pretty much done all it can do, and they might even bring targeting into the NFL now. And then the officials are out there with so much on their hands in terms of split-second decisions on intent and down and distance.
Yeah, but you got New York, right? And you can have more referees. There's nothing wrong with refereeing the game from cameras. It's no different than watching society from cameras like they do in London. It can be done. So we're watching it on TV saying that's a bull crap hit, and we're talking about it today, so they can't put us in the office and watch the game and say that's or add more referees to the game. That's things that could be done. I'm watching the technology that they have in tennis to see if the ball is in or out. You mean to tell me we can't do certain things? We can do it. We don't want to do it yet, or we don't want to spend the money. We got billions to do it, to police our game, to make it better. But we don't do those things.
Well, but why do you think it's so difficult for players to police themselves then, in the manner that you're saying that they should?
Oh man, that's a great question, but it's also the same thing about society, of how people treat them, how people act. People only have so much capacity in their thinking to get past certain things. You're talking about situations and circumstances. You're talking about guys who are bumping their head constantly during the game. You're talking about guys who are training to react constantly, in the off season, and then when they get in season, you're telling them not to react, not to hit a guy, not to pull up. That's frustrating. That's a lot to think about. So the NFL need to think about how they're implementing the rules too, versus the mentality that these guys are training in, in the off season. In the off season, we train to react. Then you want us to untrain that when we get to the season? That's going to cause chaos. What you see right now.
All right, Ed, before I let you go here, let's talk about your foundation. You acquired land in your neighborhood of St. Charles Parish, right? And you're planning and zoning?
Yeah, it was donated. This lady donated it for like 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like awesome for like $1. And that was pretty much the only land outside of some other property that's, got a bunch of families connected to it we can't get to. Well, I'd rather put it, but we just can't get to it. But she donated it, and we're going to put a park in my neighborhood because, that's what it's needed. I grew up at the park. That's all the great football you saw over the years came from the park. I'm a park baby,
Mm-hmm.
As I tell people, and we're doing some stuff up in Baltimore, of course. You might have heard of it. Glenn Dorothy had a recreation center called Shake and Bake in Baltimore. And it just needs some refurbishing, and right in the neighborhood where they had the riots right by Booker T. Washington, where we work with that school that needs a lot of help as well. So we're still moving, Rich. Got to keep moving, man. Got to keep helping the community regardless of situations, what's going on with you in life. You get knocked down, you keep getting back up. It's no different than football. Still moving that way, instinctive. That's why I'm messing with these cigars and trying to get with the right people to put out, 3 cigars, a full body, a medium body, and a cigar for the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it,
still
Ed.
moving. It's still doing things.
You
man,
are the man. At 20ER on Twitter, edreedfoundation.org/donate to get part of what you're doing. Ed, love you, Ed Reed. I don't care who knows it. You're the best.
Love you too, Rich, man.
Okay. Right back at you. We'll chat soon. That's Ed Reed. Have a great Christmas and holiday season.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.